Ever feel like you're stuck in a linguistic labyrinth, maybe tripping over words you thought you knew, or just, well, utterly lost when trying to express yourself in English? Perhaps you find yourself saying, I know the word, but it just doesn't feel quite right in this sentence. Or maybe you feel like you're constantly putting your foot in it when trying to convey something subtle. Well, you're definitely not alone, and it's certainly not your fault if you're feeling a bit under the weather about your vocabulary. In a world that's, bursting at the seams with words, moving beyond simply knowing them to truly mastering them, that's the real goal. Welcome to Daily English Practice. Listen and speak. This deep dive is all about navigating that fascinating world of advanced English vocabulary. We're drawing our insights from an incredible source, the English Vocabulary in Use, advanced book with answers, and enhanced ebook vocabulary reference and practice third edition, which also features the Cambridge Advanced Learners Dictionary. Our mission for you today is really to unpack how to truly master advanced English words. Not just for exams, but for real-world communication, whether you're prepping for a big meeting, catching up on a complex field, or just, well, insanely curious about language. Okay, let's unpack this then. When we talk about reaching that advanced level in English vocabulary, what exactly are we looking for in a foundational resource like this dictionary and its companion book? What makes it truly different from, say, just looking things up online?
That's a really crucial starting point. Because for an advanced learner like you, it's definitely no longer just about getting basic definitions. The Cambridge Advanced Learners Dictionary, for instance, it gives you over 140,000 phrases, meanings, and importantly, examples.
Oh, examples are key.
Yes, but the real insight here, especially for advanced learners, isn't just the sheer number, it's the precision. It includes hundreds of pictures and illustrations. And at this level, they aren't just for basic understanding. They really help differentiate between words that are very similar.
Ah, like subtle differences.
Exactly. Clarifying nuances in meaning or usage that, frankly, definitions alone might struggle to convey. Think about the slight difference between, say, a grin, a smirk, and a beam. A picture can capture that emotional feel instantly.
That makes sense. It solidifies understanding beyond just the words on the page.
Right. It moves beyond abstract definitions to a more concrete understanding, which is vital when you're dealing with words that are very close in meaning.
And I imagine this precision also makes it really good for exams like IELTS, Beck, or those Cambridge English exams.
Absolutely. That suitability for exam preparation like Cambridge English. First, advanced and proficiency. It comes precisely from that comprehensive detail and the focus on correct usage. But here's where it gets really interesting for any advanced learner, not just exam takers. The dictionary and the book, they're informed by the Cambridge International Corpus and correlated to the English vocabulary profile.
Corpus, that's a term you hear sometimes. But for our listeners who might not be linguists, how does being corpus informed actually make a big difference to their vocabulary learning?
Great question, and it's a real game changer, honestly. Think of a corpus as a gigantic living database of English. It's like a huge digital mirror reflecting how English is actually spoken and written today by millions of people.
Okay, like real-world English.
Exactly. It's built from billions of words of real text, novels, newspapers, emails, spoken conversations, academic papers, you name it. So for you as an advanced learner, this means you're not learning words in a vacuum or from some dusty old list. Instead, you're encountering vocabulary that's chosen based on its actual frequency and natural usage.
Ah, so you learn words people actually use and how they use them.
Precisely. It ensures you sound authentic and current. You avoid those phrases that might be grammatically perfect, but just sound, well, a bit odd or old-fashioned to a native speaker.
Right, learning words in their natural habitat, you could say.
That's a perfect way to put it.
Right.
And having both British and American English recordings, like on the CD Rom mentioned, that reinforces authentic pronunciation and those regional variations too. Super valuable for global communication.
So it's about sounding natural, not just being technically correct. I can definitely see why that's a huge step up for advanced learners. You also mentioned a new W focus on writing section. How does that help someone at this level?
Well, it really dives into the essential bits of academic, formal, and even informal writing. For advanced learners, it's often not just about the grammar anymore. It's about mastering register and style.
Yeah, definitely. Knowing what sounds right in different situations.
Exactly. So this section gives you the specific vocabulary and structures you need to convey complex ideas clearly and appropriately. Whether you're drafting a formal report, writing an academic essay, or maybe just sending a casual but important email.
Crafting the message for the audience.
Precisely. And to keep you current, there's also NUW vocabulary from areas like technology, media, language, society, lifestyle. all the stuff that changes fast.
Because language doesn't stand still.
Not at all. A static vocabulary quickly feels outdated.
That's fantastic. Now, what about those common slip-ups or pitfalls that learners often face? Does this resource help you sort of proactively avoid mistakes?
Yes, and that's a real sign of a resource aimed at advanced learning. It includes unique learner error information. This doesn't just list words, it actually highlights the most common mistakes learners make at different levels.
Oh, that's useful. So you see the common traps.
Exactly. You learn not just the correct way, but also the common pitfalls to actively steer clear of. And connecting this to the bigger picture, that English vocabulary profile correlation is also really key.
Oh, so?
It shows which words and meanings tend to be known by learners at what level. So it guides you, helps you prioritize your learning effort.
So strategic learning, focus where it counts most.
Right? It's about strategic acquisition, focusing your energy where it yields the most impact, rather than just, random memorization, learning smarter, not just harder.
That makes perfect sense. It's not just about stuffing your head with words, but learning them effectively and sidestepping common errors. Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me. It's clearly not just about looking up words in a dictionary, is it? This book seems to have a specific way of teaching, a methodology. How does it actively engage you beyond just reading definitions?
You've really hit on a key point there. It moves far beyond simple rote learning, which honestly just isn't enough for truly mastering nuanced vocabulary. The book is structured very intentionally, clear explanations on the left-hand page, and then engaging exercises and activities on the right-hand page.
Ah, okay. Then apply immediately.
Exactly. It encourages active engagement and immediate application.
Yeah.
For example, there are these over-to-you activities. These prompt you to talk or write about yourself using the new vocabulary and work independently.
So making it personal.
Yes.
Yeah.
That personal connection, applying the new vocabulary to your own life, your own experiences, it leads to much deeper processing and much better retention than just passively checking answers in the back.
Right. It makes the learning relevant and helps it stick.
Precisely. That's the goal. Practical application for practical fluency.
And it bridges that gap you mentioned from upper intermediate to advanced.
Yes, specifically aiming for those C1 and C2 levels of the Common European Framework. The vocabulary isn't just random, it's meticulously chosen for its usefulness. Not just in everyday chat, but importantly for academic needs, professional contexts, vocational skills.
Real-world stuff.
Exactly. And that careful selection, as we touched on before, it's rooted in the Cambridge English corpus, that massive collection of real-world English, including a huge learner corpus. That vast data helps pinpoint the most relevant words, how they're genuinely used, and crucially, it identifies typical problems that advanced learners run into.
So it gives you the vocabulary you'll actually need and use in complex situations.
That's the idea, to equip you for those real-world scenarios.
Okay, so let's talk about those scenarios. What does this all mean for someone wanting to use this knowledge effectively? Say in a high-pressure job interview, or maybe when you're deep in academic research.
It means building a practical, also sophisticated vocabulary that directly applies to those exact contexts. So you sound confident, articulate, like you belong there. For academic study, for instance, you move beyond just basic terms. You learn phrases like cramming for success when you've got a big exam coming up, or doing revision before a test.
Things you actually hear students say.
Right. You learn the importance of looking at past papers as a study strategy. And while you might memorize or learn on by heart certain facts, the source really emphasizes that just rote learning isn't enough for true understanding. Instead, you need to study intensively until you, and this is a great idiom, know the subject inside out.
I like that. Complete mastery.
Exactly. It also covers essential academic terms. Serious things like plagiarism, the process of how to hand in work formally, or how your work gets evaluated and given a grade, maybe with comments from the teacher tutor. These are all part of that academic world needing specific vocabulary.
That really clarifies the academic side. Now let's switch gears a bit. How does this kind of resource prepare someone for the professional world? Because that's often where precise vocabulary can really make you stand out.
Oh, it certainly can. In a job context, the book aims to equip you with the language for every stage. You learn how to talk properly about applying for a job, discussing any direct experience you have, or maybe inquiring about positions available. You can confidently assess, say, an attractive set of other advantages, perks beyond just the salary.
Okay, the whole package.
Right. And for job interviews, it prepares you for common questions and helps you articulate your skills. Using phrases like, being able to work well under pressure. You'll know how to ask about important things like in-house training programs or opportunities for professional development, key for career growth.
Uh-huh.
Understanding practicalities like a notice period is also crucial when you're moving between jobs.
Hmm.
And of course, you might be asked to talk us through your CV, a very common idiomatic way to ask you to summarize your resume.
Right, very natural phrasing.
But it goes beyond just getting the job. In terms of workplace dynamics, it covers key concepts like job satisfaction, helping you describe whether a role is truly fulfilling. It helps you differentiate between just a run-of-the-mill job and maybe working for a truly dynamic new company. Gives you the words to assess your environment.
Hmm.
It addresses things like short-term financial reward versus longer-term career goals, concepts like staff morale, the importance of teamwork, the desire for job stability, and really crucial contemporary topics like work-life balance or what it means to feel demotivated.
Things people genuinely talk about at work.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
You learn expressions like seeking a career in something more creative, understand terms like maternity, paternity leave, and importantly, distinguish between perks, which is more informal for extra benefits, and benefits, the more formal term.
Ah, that register difference again.
Exactly. It covers salary increments, performance-related pay, and annual bonus, right down to that very common informal fixed expression, overworked and underpaid, something many of us can unfortunately relate to.
Chuckles slightly. Maybe too relatable for some.
Perhaps. But the depth here is about understanding not just the words, but the concepts and the realities they represent in the professional sphere.
That's incredibly thorough. And I particularly appreciate how it covers both the formal and the more informal language you need in the workplace. This brings up a really important question, though. English is just full of subtle differences, isn't it? And for advanced learners, mastering these nuances feels paramount. How does understanding those subtleties make our vocabulary truly advanced, moving beyond just getting the main idea?
This is really where mastery shines. And it's a constant journey, a process of refinement. Advanced vocabulary isn't just knowing more words. It's about understanding their precise usage, their emotional weight, how they fit together. First off, collocations are absolutely key.
Okay, collocations, words that go together.
Exactly. Words don't live in isolation. They often collocate, meaning they frequently and naturally appear together. You don't say quick food, you say fast food.
Right.
We talked earlier about maybe a fast-moving and dynamic industry, or phrases like seeking a career in something and looking to work in another field. Learning these natural pairings makes your English sound so much more authentic and fluent. It's honestly one of the biggest things distinguishing a competent speaker from a truly advanced one.
So it's not just knowing the individual words, but knowing their usual friends, their companions, and how they form natural phrases? That sounds like a real breakthrough moment for many learners.
It really can be. Then you have connotations and associations. This is about the emotional weight words carry positive, negative, or neutral beyond their basic dictionary definition.
The feeling of the word.
Precisely. So, for describing people, slender suggests thin in an attractive, graceful way, whereas scrawny implies someone is unattractively thin and bony. Both mean thin, but the impact, totally different.
Huge difference.
Or someone can be described as charming, definitely positive, but cunning. That means cleverly deceptive, usually carrying a strong negative association, even though both might relate to intelligence or skill in a way.
Understanding those nuances is crucial for not accidentally insulting someone.
Absolutely. It prevents myth communication and allows for much more precise and careful self-expression, especially in delicate situations.
Okay, what else falls under these subtleties?
Well, we touched on register and formality, the style of language for particular situations. Like your example of perks being informal for job extras, while benefits is the formal equivalent. Knowing when to use which is vital for sounding appropriate.
Got it.
Another aspect is polysemous, words. Those are words with multiple meanings, like bank, financial institution, or riverside. The context almost always clarifies the intended meaning for a fluent speaker.
Right. Context does the heavy lifting.
An advanced learner instinctively uses those context clues to figure it out, making comprehension feel seamless.
And what about words that aren't used literally? Metaphors and things like that.
Yes, exactly. Many words are used metaphorically, not just literally. It enriches expression, makes language more vivid, more colorful. The phrase, tighten our belts, for example. It doesn't mean literally cinching your clothing. It implies reducing spending, usually during tough financial times, or bursting at the seams, which we used right at the start. It implies something is very full, overflowing, not literally tearing apart.
Okay.
And we see this richness in vocabulary for feelings and relationships too. Words like exultant, ecstatic, jubilant all express extreme happiness, maybe with bliss denoting a more perfect, serene kind of happiness. On the flip side, there's distressed for intense anxiety or pain, or aversion for a strong dislike.
Lots of shades of meaning there.
Definitely. And for relationships, you have great phrases like hit it off, liking someone immediately, or
Hmm.
being soulmates, that deep natural connection, or getting on like a house on fire, meaning having an excellent, really enthusiastic relationship.
Those are very expressive.
They are. And conversely, things like a rift or discord or not seeing eye to eye describe disagreements or breakdown in harmony. Learning these idioms and the subtle differences between synonyms truly expands your expressive toolkit. You know, what's really fascinating here, when you think about it, is that learning a new word isn't just adding an item to your vocabulary list. It's like adding a new lens through which you can see the world. It reveals nuances and layers of meaning you might never have noticed before. It's really about precision, connection, and truly understanding. Not just speaking or writing words in isolation. It's about becoming a more discerning and ultimately a more effective communicator.
That's a really powerful thought to leave us with. It underscores that vocabulary isn't just about collecting labels, it's about understanding the world and our place within it with much greater clarity and depth. Well, that's it for this deep dive into learning new English vocabulary. We sincerely hope you found these insights helpful and maybe inspiring for your own language journey, taking you from simply knowing words to truly mastering them. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this deep dive and want more insights into enhancing your English communication skills, please do subscribe to our channel for more daily English practice, listen, and speak.